Hello everyone, welcome to the Google Snippets channel. So in today's video, we'll be looking at how to deploy your Go apps to a platform called Relay for free. So in case you want to like showcase your Go apps or you want to like test it in a live environment, or want to showcase to people. So there's a platform called Relay you can deploy it for free, and we'll be looking at how to do that in this video. So that is what we'll be doing in this video. But before I move into the video, I'd like to mention something. So the first thing first is if you are new to the channel and you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel and also leave a thumbs up if you like the content of the video, and also drop any comments you have in the comment section below. Same goes for those of us that we watch videos on this channel, but for some reason we haven't subscribed. Please consider subscribing to the channel, and if you have and if you like the content of this video, also leave a thumbs up and drop any comments you have in the comment section below. So with that, let's just run the code and see how it works before we go into the code and see the whole functionality. So let's just run the app. So it is serving on port 8080. So if I come to my browser and I visit localhost 8080. So this is the app, just a commenting app, so I can just do random comments. Just random comments. So it's to show over here. So that is it. So in this video, the database we're using is a MongoDB database. So I have my Mongo compass open there. So let me just refresh this. And these are the two entries I have. So I'm using the database, my comments app, and the collection comments. So that's basically what I'm using, the database and the collection I'm using inside my MongoDB. So back to the app, let's see how it works. So the first thing first is then you have to make sure that you have your app posted in GitHub, because when we're deploying, we deploy directly from GitHub. So this is the project structure. I have my HTML folder where I have my frontend, which is my index.html, which is what I have here, and I have my app.env where I store my environmental variables. So I have just two environmental variables: the port environmental variable and DB connection string, which is what I'm using to connect with MongoDB locally on my system. And I have my main.go file, which is the main backend. So what is happening is, the first thing first, I have a comments type that has three fields: the ID, the name, and the comment. So this ID is basically the ID field that's generated by MongoDB. So to have like a little bit control, because normally MongoDB will create like generate a random ID field for every entry into a collection. But if you want to have it to control over it, you can actually call it in your code. And the type of that ID in Go is type object ID from package primitive. And package primitive is one of the sub packages in the official Go Mongo driver, which is this package here. So that's the first thing. Then it has a name field, which is the person that's commenting, and the comments field, which is the comment that is being placed. So that's the first thing. The next thing is we'll load now function main. First thing we'll do is we'll actually load our app.env, which is where I have my environmental variables. Then if there's an error, I'll just locate out the error. So this here, anytime I use os.getEnv to get environmental variables, to be getting it from my app.env file instead of from my system's environmental variables. The next thing I'm doing here, so everything from here to here is just basically connecting to the database. So I'm creating a context to connect to the database. Then I'm getting a client option. Then with the client option, I'm calling the function connect from package Mongo. Then this one takes in the client option and the context, which is these two things I created here. Then I have the clients. Then on this client, I have the method DB that will specify database I want to use in MongoDB. Then on that type DB, this one is going to return the type database from Mongo, or type database from package Mongo. Yes. Then on this type here, I can call the method collection to go into the collection I want to use, which is collection comments, and that's what we basically saw here. So I have database, my comments app, and collection comments. So that's it, a database, my comments app, and collection comments. So you have to have this set up in MongoDB. I think if you don't set this up in MongoDB, basically MongoDB automatically sets it up for you, if I'm not wrong. I think MongoDB automatically sets up a database and a collection for you if it is not there before. Then the next thing is just I'm just loading my HTML folder as templates. So every file in my HTML folder related as templates on this particular line here, and the only file I have here is my index.html, which is this here. So that's what I'm doing here. The next thing is that I'm creating a router. I'm using type new router from package Chi. So package Chi is this routing library here, which is actually going it's getting very popular in the Go community. So it used to be Gorilla Mix, but the former maintainers of Gorilla Mix have actually archived the repository, if I'm not wrong, because they are kind of looking for someone to like maintain. But I think nobody in the community was willing to like take up maintaining the repository. So it's not safe to be using that type of repository that is not being maintained. So that's why I'm switching to Gucci, and this is basically the repository for Gucci. Yeah. So with that being said, from Chi, I'm creating a new router. Then I'm calling the method get on the router. So anytime I is this endpoint forward slash or the method get. What do I want to do? So the first thing I want to do is that I want to find all the documents in this collection, and the collection is what collection comments. And all the documents basically is I want to get all the comments in the collection. Then once I have all those comments, I'll check if there's an error. If there's an error, I'll handle the error. And if there's no error, I'll create like a comment variable to like hold all the comments, which is going to be a slice of comments. And that's a slice of this type here that I created. Then I'm just going to call the method all on this cursor that I have here. I think this cursor should actually have a close. Let me see, defer cursor dot close. Oh, there's a close method. I should have done this. Then it's going to take in a context. I can just put in my background context that I created earlier on here. This variable here. So I want to use this variable throughout the app. So that is basically it. Then from there, I'll just call the method all on that cursor to get all the comments, and I'm going to write them into the address of this comments variable here. So this comments variable, after this line, if there's no error, will be containing all the comments, and I'll just simply pass the comment into my index.html file, which is my front end. So I'm just sending this comment to the front end once I get all the comments from the database. That is it. So in the front end, how is that being cut? So in my front end here, what will happen is that the item that will be cut is basically in this place. So this is how Ghost templating engine works. So for any of us that is not familiar with Go templating engine, I made the video on that. I'll drop the description, the link to that video in this video's description, so you can check it out and see how Ghost templating engine works. And what this is basically saying is that if dots, so this dot means that if there's a data, this dot means if there's data, then I just want to range over this data. So this range is similar to goes for underscore v equals to range of a slice or an array or a map. Then do something with v. So that's what that range keyword is for. So I'm saying range dot means range over whatever data is. I'm getting out the name and I'm getting out the comments. So this dot name and dot comment here corresponds to this field here in the type comment struct. And what you need to notice is that these fields have to be capital letter, or else they have to start with capital letters rather, or else they won't be exported, because that's like a general rule of thumb. If you want something to be public, you want it to be outside of that particular package, you have to make sure that the first letter is actually capital letter, so that way it's going to be visible outside of the package. So that's basically it. So it's going to be exported. So I'm just getting the name and I'm getting the comment. So that's basically the things I'm doing. I'm going to do that for all the comments that comes in. So all these classes here are bootstrap classes, but I didn't want to have to waste time writing my own CSS classes. So if you're not familiar with bootstrap, you don't need to bother about that. You can write your own CSS classes, but basically if you look at it, you have bootstrap CDN for CSS and bootstrap CDN for JavaScript down here. So all these classes that I'm using here, all this container MD, all these things are bootstrap classes. So you don't need to bother about them. You can use your own CSS classes if you like. So that's basically what happens in that place. Then the next method I'm calling is on a post method. So if there's a post method on this forward slash, what should happen? So if there's a post method on this forward slash, it means that a new comment is coming in. So how do I get that new comment? I'll create a new comment. When I create a new comment, I'll be having primitive.newObjectID as the ID. So remember this field ID as a type object ID from package primitive. So how do I get an object ID? I can use the was function new object ID from package primitive, and this is also one of the packages that is provided by our official Go Mongo driver, which is this package here. So I'm placing a new object ID as the field for the ID. Then the name field will be r.formValueName. So what is r.formValueName? So this r is our request here. So I'm calling the method formValue and I'm getting the name. So this name corresponds to, in my front end right here, this is the sum that submits. This is the form that submits a new comment. So it has to field text area, which is the comment. It has a field text area, which is the comment, and a field input, which is the name of the person that is commenting. So this text area has a name property, which is comment, and that is what we're having here. And this input field, which is name, has a name property name. So this name here and this comment here is what these two corresponds to. Form value name. So I'm getting the value of the form with property name, and I'm getting the value of the form with property comment, and those two will be strings, and I'm just putting them as the value for the name in the new comment and the comment in the new comment. So that's basically what is happening. So once I have my comment, I'll just simply insert that comment. So my collection, I'm inserting one, and I'm passing, so it takes in two arguments, a context and a document, which is an empty interface, any type. So context I'm passing is my background context, and the document I'm passing is in this new comment I just created here, and I'm checking for the error also. If there's any error, I'm handling the error here. there's no error, I'll just redirect back to this forward slash, and I'm redirecting with status code, status order. Status order is 303. So what 303 does basically is once you redirect to 303, the redirecting page, the page that is being redirected to will actually automatically assume a get method. So remember that this endpoint actually hit on a post. So to clear this post method and make it a get automatically, you need to use status order. And once it gets, and I'm redirecting to forward slash, so it looks like I'm just reloading the page and I'm coming back to this one forward slash and it gets. So it just basically do everything here, which is basically get all the comments from the collection, all the comments from the database collection, then put everything to the front end. That's basically what this redirect here is doing. And if you check my browser, I actually opened the MDN documentation for 303. So it says here that 303, so it says somewhere here that this response code is also sent back as a result of put or post, which is what we are doing, because we are doing a post. So it's going to be as a result of a post. Then this method used to display this redirected page is always get. So the method used to display this redirected page is get. So once you direct to a new page, the method automatically be a get instead of a post. So it's going to change from a post to a put to a get. So the former page might be on a post, but once it's redirected, it's going to assume a get. That's what 303 does. And that's it for the code. So that's basically what is happening. The next thing is I'm just getting my port, let's get F port. So this part is very, very important. And this is why it is important is because if you are deploying to railway and you don't have this particular line of code in your app, it will give you a build error on railway. So you have to make sure you have this particular line of code in your app. So port is where you get F port. So I'm going to be getting it from my app.env file, which is what I have here. Port 8080. So that's what I have there. So this will automatically be 8080. And if for some reason I didn't set it, so just set the port variable to 8080, then I'm serving on that port. Then I'm calling this now serve on that port with my router, which is basically what I'm using to route here. So that's basically how the backend and the front end works. So that's basically how the code works. So you've seen the code, and that's how the whole thing works. So I'll just stop the server and I'll rerun it to see if it is still working, if I haven't done anything wrong. Okay, so back to this place. So I have it here. So I can just refresh this, and once I refresh this, okay, so I can add a new comment. So I have it down here. So that is basically it. So next thing now is to deploy. So to deploy our app, we need to go to Railway. So this is Railway here. So the name of the URL is railway.app. That is it here. And one more thing you need also is after you get to Railway, you need to create a Railway account. The next thing you need to do is you need to create like a MongoDB Atlas account. So MongoDB Atlas is like a cloud database for MongoDB. So once you create your Atlas account, you'll be taking, this is the place you'll be meeting here. This is the dashboard you'll be taken to. So while creating your Atlas account, I think Atlas gives them a free tier, which is basically 512 MB free forever tier. So you get 512 MB of space that you can use, and that is more than enough for this particular video. So this is the page that you'll be brought to once you create your Atlas account. So it's totally free to create. You can actually create it with your, if you have a Gmail account, you can create it with your Gmail account. So that way it is faster. You don't have to like do all the putting your name and everything. So you just create it with your Gmail account. So once you get to this place, the next thing you want to do is basically you need to come to database access. When you come to database access, you create a new user. So I can add new database user. So don't use my database user because basically I'll delete it after this video. So you have to create your own database, then create your own user. So the authentication type is password for sure. Then I want to make the name to be a new user. Let me just say, give it new user. Then the password will be 12345. Let me see if I'm showing that. You can generate a random password if you want to, but this one's 345, so I'll know what I'm using. So that's it, 12345. That's the password. And username is new user. Fine. Then what's in I want to add this? I want to add the built-in role. So this is also very important. So I'll add and read write in database. I can make it Atlas admin. Well, let me do Atlas admin. So that way I have read and write access to any database and I can do the whole thing on Atlas. So that's basically all. So I'll add the user. So don't forget the password and username. The username is new user and the password is 12345. So the new user has been added here. This is it here. So make sure you create your own new user because after this video I'll be deleting this user. So you won't be able to connect to my own Atlas account. So that's the thing you need to do on MongoDB Atlas. So and those are the only two things you need. And yes, one more thing you need is back in the code. One other thing you need is you need to actually create a GitHub repository and host this app on GitHub. I think I've mentioned that earlier if I'm not wrong. So you have to make sure that this app has been pushed to a GitHub repository, because when we are deploying, to deploy to Heroku, one of the faster and easier way is just to deploy directly from GitHub. Since you have the app hosted on GitHub, you just directly deploy from GitHub. So you have to make sure that this is deployed to GitHub. So you have it in a GitHub repository. So that's the next thing. So back in Railway now, just simply log in. So once you want to log in, once you come to Railway, you can just click login directly. You can log in with GitHub, because that will be using to like deploy. So you can just log in directly with GitHub. So that way it's going to be easier instead of logging with your email. You log in with GitHub. So after you log in with GitHub, because I've logged in before, once I log in, it won't ask me any extra question. But because if you are new to Railway, to ask you some questions, if you're new to Railway, that you need to do like some authentication. But if you're not new to Railway, it's pretty straightforward. Since if you are already logged in before, it's just simply bring it directly to your dashboard, which is what it's trying to load for me now, because I've kind of logged in before. So log you in via GitHub, then I'll just go home. So if I go home now, so this is my dashboard. So this dashboard, these are the projects I have before on Heroku. So I'll just simply create a new project. And if I also need to Heroku, they're going to give you like some, I think 250 hours. I'm having 500 hours, and the reason is because I've actually added a debit card. But usually, if you haven't added a debit card, they'll give you, I think, 250 hours or 200 hours of free Dino hours per month. I think it's per month, yes, for every 30 days. So that is what I'm going to give you. And if you add a debit card, they will upgrade it to 500 hours for you, which is enough, more than enough to like test stuff for a whole month. But the only downside to Railway that I know that Heroku had, that Railway does not have, is that Railway does not stop your Dino hours. Because Heroku, if you've used Heroku before, what happens is that if your app does not receive any request for, I think, I'm not sure how long, but for some time, they automatically stop the Dino hours. So that way you can reserve Dino hours. But Railway does not do that. You continue counting. Even you're not using it to be counting, 10 hours will be counting, and once it finishes before the end of the month has finished, so you have to respond that month, or you can just buy a plan. So there's a starter plan of $5, you can easily buy that. So with that, in my project, after I click my new project, it asks me to deploy from GitHub, which is what I want to do. So I'll deploy from GitHub repo. So the repo I want to deploy from is the repo for that. I think I have this is the Go put snippet. So I'll just simply click this. Then before I deploy now, I need to add environmental variables, because remember in our app here, I added some environmental variables in my app.env. So I need to add those environmental variables. So I'll just go to add variables. So that is it. So it's loading up. My network is really slow. I don't know why it's creating environment. So while I'm adding the variables, I think it should be deployed. I don't know. So the first variable I also add is port. So I'll just simply copy this here, port, which is the first variable, port. I'll put that here. And the second variable, then the value is basically 8080. So I'll put that here. I'll add. Then I also want to add another one, so I'll click new variable. So the second variable I want to add is DB connection string. So I'll copy this. But for the value, I can't copy this because this is connected to MongoDB locally. So I need to connect to MongoDB Atlas. How do I do that? So to do that, I'll just simply come to MongoDB Atlas back. I've created a new user, which is this. I'll come to database. Sorry. So I'll come to connect. Then for connect, I'll connect driver. I'll press driver, which is basically what I'm going to use to connect. So it says the access your Atlas data using MongoDB's native driver, e.g. Node.js, Go, etc. So I'll click on driver. Then driver is Go 1.4 or later. Then this is what I'm going to use to connect here. This here is what I'm going to use to connect. So this is it here. So I'll copy this. So I can copy this. So once I copy this, what I'm going to use to connect. But before I use it, I'll need to like do some changes to it. I can just paste it here for now. Then I need to change it in username. So the first one I'll change is username. The username I want to use is the new user which I just created not quite long in the database access. And the password is 12345. That is it. So after that, I'll just simply copy this back. That is going to be the value for the environmental variable I'm adding. So I'll just paste that here. Then I'll add it. So that's going to be it. So that is it. So it says we deploy scheduled. We will deploy when you are done. So it's just telling me that it's going to deploy when I'm done adding these environmental variables. I think that is all. So now it's already deploying. So it's redeploying as I've added those two environmental variables. So I can just come to my deployment and see. So it is deploying, initializing. So let us wait for it. So it is building, deploying. So it says website are detected, still deploying. So I can view the logs while it is deploying. I start to view the logs. Serving on port 8080. So fine, I think it has deployed. So basically, so how do we visit it now? So to visit it, we need to add a domain. So because here it is saying keep on exposed, that means you don't have a domain. It is active, it is green, that means it is active, fine. But we don't know how to deploy it. Don't know how to visit it. So how do we visit it? Simply we just click add a custom domain. If you have a domain that you bought some, maybe on Namecheap or GoDaddy or wherever the domain provider is that you bought a domain from, you can add your own domain. Or just add a custom, I can add your custom domain rather, but I'll just add a domain. So maybe we can also provide like a random domain for us. I can also click add domain, then it's automatically provide me a domain. And one other thing I like about Railway that Heroku does not give is that Railway kind of does this whole thing of helping you like getting like an SSL to help you get like an SSH key to like make your domain safer, which is something that Heroku does not do. So SSL certificate rather, which Heroku does not do. So this is basically our URL here. So if you look down here, just look down here on the lower left of my screen as I over on this place. So that is the basically the URL we visit to visit the app. So I can just click on this and it will direct me to the URL. So this is it here, and that is our app there. So I can just do the comments, then I can do this, then I'll comment. Once I comment, it has the comments, then I can do it again, then add another comment, then comment. So basically my app is deployed like this. So if I go to my MongoDB Atlas to see the records, I can just simply close this out. Then to see the records, close. So to see the records, I can just browse collections. So once I browse collections, I just simply go. So this is the database in my comments app, and this is the collection here, the collection comments. So I can just click this and to load the documents for me. So these are the documents. So if I go ahead and add another one, another random, I can add a random in the comments. So this is it here. So if I go back to Atlas and I refresh, where is the button to refresh? Okay, I refresh. So it is refreshing the database, loading my documents. So that is the new documents here. So that's basically 3 documents I have. So everything is right here. So that way our app has been deployed and we have our app live. So you can always share this URL with someone, and that way they can visit the app and test things out also. So it used to be Heroku that used to be a very popular platform for like people like just testing stuff out. But because Heroku does not offer a free tier, a lot of people are looking for like an alternative, and one very good alternative is Railway. So that is basically it for this. Then you can add your own domains later once you get your domain. That will be it for this video. So if you like the content of this video, don't forget to leave a thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, please make sure you subscribe. If you are not new to the channel and been watching videos also but you haven't subscribed, please help me grow the channel by subscribing to the channel and also leaving a thumbs up. And also share the video if you like the content and feel like you know someone that will be needing this also. You can just share the URL of the video to the person. So with that being said, I would like to end this video. See you guys in another video. Thanks.